First and foremost, we got rid of the Jack Smith team. Gone. Yeah. Those people are gone. We're still trying to find out. There are a lot of people in the FBI and also in the Department of Justice who despise Donald Trump, despise us, don't want to be there. We will find them because you have to believe in transparency. You have to believe in honesty. You have to do the right thing. And right now, we're going to root them out. We will find them, and they will no longer be employed. But again, we're starting at every level of the Justice Department, Sean, and getting rid of the worst of the worst. But there are a lot more people that shouldn't be there, but there are a lot of good people who are out there now risking their lives every day making these cases.
You know, if they fire everybody who despises Donald Trump, we're going to have about 3 people left in the whole federal government, and America will collapse.
My question is, if you could shed any light for us on how the president perceives his use of public profanity, which is a practice that certainly sets him apart from all of his predecessors. Does he regard it as an effective communications device, part of his appeal, or is it something that he lapses into inadvertently, perhaps in times of frustration and later regrets?
I think one of the things that the American people love most about this president is that he often says what they are thinking, but sometimes lack the courage to say themselves. And I think yesterday at this podium, you heard President Trump express great frustration, perhaps even anger, with the previous administration's policies, many of which have led to the crises that our country is currently facing and that this president is focused on fixing.
There's been a mandate to the president from the American people, am I correct?
No!
There's not a mandate by the American people who is overwhelmingly
30%.
The Congressional Budget Office, you know what it's going to be by 2035? It's going to be $59 trillion. Did I tell you? Did I tell you? You've got people who pay more taxes. The top 1% of this country pays taxes, more taxes.
What it is doing right now, as far as cutting out those jobs, a huge percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn shame.
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans, man.
Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. I'm not gonna. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you. We're gonna take pictures with you, buddy, right?
Just asking because, as you know, your home state of Louisiana, about 80% of the Medicaid spending there is covered by the federal government. We've seen it in a lot of red states, of course, across the United States. It's not just a blue state issue. As you have seen through this, and we've seen the blowback that some Republicans in your caucus that are getting when they go back home to their districts, worried about these cuts or worried about what DOJ is doing. Do you have concerns that that's anything that Democrats will be able to use to run against those Republicans?
No, because no, I don't. Because the videos you saw of the town halls were for paid protesters in many of those places. These are Democrats who went to the events early and filled up the seats. If the videos had panned outside the building,
you can't argue they were all paid protesters, though, Mr. Speaker.
Many of them were.
A Republican acknowledged they were his constituents.
One Republican acknowledged they were his constituents. That's fantastic. Okay, but they had Democrats come and fill the seats early, all right? This is an old playbook that they pulled out and ran, and it made it look like that what is happening in Washington is unpopular. But I'm going to tell you, Caitlin, the American people are behind what's happening.
It's not just Donald Trump who's on a warpath to get rid of anybody who presents any kind of dissent towards him and his agenda, but also you got Elon Musk, who had 30-something federal investigations into him and his businesses. He gets in there, gets rid of all of that. He's about to fire 7,000 Social Security employees, thousands and thousands of other federal employees to clear out the fraud, waste, and abuse. Goes on to Joe Rogan, lies about Social Security, calls it the biggest Ponzi scheme in history. Whatever I don't know what the hell he's talking about. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. As if this man hasn't taken $38 billion in government contracts from taxpayer subsidies. Imagine how bold you have to be. This man is not an American. He was not born here. to come over to another country and be like, all right, I'm just going to change how this whole thing works so that I can make more money. As if he doesn't already have enough money. You know, being the wealthiest man in the world isn't enough. You know, he has to also pretend like he's the best gamer in the world, even though he isn't. He has to pretend so many things because he's a loser. He is a pathetic child who's the wealthiest man in the world, and Republicans always talking about George Soros. Donald Trump used to flame Elon Musk. He used to roast him all the time, telling the truth, saying, you know, without these government subsidies, you would be nobody. You would be nothing. Elon Musk came to me. If I told him to get on his knees and beg, he would have done it. And now all of a sudden Republicans are like, oh, well, this is totally fine. It's totally fine if the wealthiest man in the world is just arbitrarily deciding what's going to happen for us. And I know you're seeing all these Republican lawmakers literally flee from town halls because their voters are pissed off. But yeah, go ahead and keep cutting people out of the government. Go ahead and keep getting rid of people, and we'll see what happens.